Um, Question. What the hell is hoflation?
What are you doing, Scarecrow?
As I was browsing through Beyonce's internet, I came across the Whatever podcast, and then as this guy was talking, and he mentioned something very interesting.
Average men expect too much out of average women and vice versa.
No, because I disagree.
Why?
Well, I mean, there's this concept called hoflation, where basically, and I think it goes something along the lines of men have to work 5 times as hard as their grandfathers for women who are 20 times as worse as their grandmothers.
But again, 20 times worse. I don't
Podcast. Yes, hoflation is the latest term coined by the red pill community. It's basically to kind of describe how our grandparents, our great-grandparents did not put as much effort, but yet were so rewarded with the likes of their grandma and so on and so forth. And it feels like there's a need to go back to that era where these men were considered men. These men had balls. They had cojones. See, it's easy to point out how great the grandmothers were, how they were able to cook and clean and just serve their husband with 3 meals and all this other stuff. How great these women were able to cater to their husband. And quite frankly, it was great for men. However, I think you guys are reducing the contribution that men used to make back in the days before they were able to get a woman like your grandmother, before they were able to get a woman with that prestige, before they were able to, let's face it, you guys are not half of the men that your grandfather used to be.
My dad era, and this is your era. What the f***? Gotta be ashamed of yourselves.
You expect to have the same type of reward that your grandfather used to have when you're not half of the men that used to be.
Females is asking for out of men these days is getting out of hand. Hoflation is at all-time highs, and it's just absurd. We can't keep up. Average girls really want a dude to make well over $1 million a year to take them seriously. Baby, you don't even take your own skincare routine seriously. I'm gonna make $1 million, work 30 years of my life to get that much money. You think I'm gonna now take you seriously? Like, come on, let's be for real, G. Enough is enough.
You can't fix your own plumbing. You can't unclog the toilet. You can't even mow your own freaking lawn. And then you can't even... Yeah, there's a lot of shit you guys can't do that your granddad used to do. In that case, what would be the equivalent of hoflation for men?
Women today are literally settling for men who have testosterone levels the equivalent of what like a 60-year-old would have had in the 1950s. I don't hear anyone talking about how like the muscle mass of men has diminished so much that it's literally like shocking when you look back to footage of like 1950s, 60s, how shredded our country was and how jacked the guys were and like ripped, like how safe that must have felt for a woman being in the presence of these men. Like, no one's talking about any of that. How many literal soy boys and like highly estrogenic men we have to sift through in the dating market. Men in like their princess era, men who like going 50-50 and don't find pride in taking care of a woman and like protecting and providing for her and his family. How that trait has literally been bred out of men in this country, in America. There was a very clear moment I remember a few months ago. I was on the beach and I was just looking around at all of the men on the beach. And all I saw were like very skinny men with no muscle mass, very soft, like effeminate looking men, soft features, softer jawlines, and overweight men. There was like not one man that I physically felt safe like being around, as if he could like defend me. And I don't think women really understand like the implications of this. We don't understand it because we've really never had it in modern day. Like modern day has made men very weak and very lazy. And so that's literally the only context that we have. But when you study testosterone and you look back at images of men from like the 1940s, their physical like facial structures even look way different. Their faces are much wider, their jaw is much sharper. And that's just like a physical indication of what having high testosterone looks like in the male body. So what ends up happening anyways is women settle for weak men because it's what's on the market. And frankly, most of them don't really know any better.
My whole point is not to play the whataboutism game, right? Because it's easy to go back and forth about who is responsible for our current dating scene. However, as we're too busy arguing about who's actually responsible for this, women will say that it's men, and men will say that it's women, and so on and so forth. I could see the argument pouring through my comment section, and I was going to come through and be like, well, if women were such 3 or 4s, then perhaps we would take them seriously.
I think women should not be sleeping around with random men because that's degenerate. But at the same time, a high-value man can sleep around with many different women, or can sleep around with many different people. They're not sleeping with other men, they're sleeping with other women, which means for you to be a high-value man that's exercising his high-valueness by being with women, you need women that are also going to be degenerate. So even if you yourself don't think men sleeping around is degenerate, you're definitely creating the women that are. You're definitely using the women that are. So that's like me saying, you know, alcohol is horrible while I'm sitting here drinking it. You're either exposing a contradiction in your belief, or you're just showing that you're a hypocrite.
And women will just counter that and say that, well, if you guys had the balls, the cojones, then perhaps we will be able to submit to you. However, what we are not addressing is the fact that the roles, these men that we admire, or these women that we admire, the roles that they play and the condition that we have today. We're not asking the right question. Why did women fight so hard for feminism if it was that great for them? Was it perhaps that they were tired of their men, although being the sole breadwinner, they were able to use that money as leverage to control them? Or was it perhaps that the fact that when, let's say, she became old and decrepit, and then therefore he needed a new model for his collection, that he would dump her ass, and there was no alimony, there's no recourse, and for a woman that has been out of the workforce for so long, she has no prospect to take care of herself? Or are we not going to address the fact that your grandmother used to cook and clean and do all that stuff for her husband, and only to find out she would have baby out of wedlock, baby on the other side of the town?
I tell you what, you only cheat with ugly women?
Yes, Steve. Because my wife is so beautiful.
Yeah. How many different women did you sleep with?
Two.
Both pretty decent looking?
No.
One was good looking?
No.
They're both ugly?
Yes.
Come on now, aren't you being a little mean?
No.
Oh, no, we don't want to address that. It's easy. It's easy to point out the hoflation. It's easy to do so. But what role did we play in this whole hoflation? How did we inflate the numbers when we kept rewarding the hoes, the side chicks, these broads that actually, didn't put half the effort that your grandmother put in, but yet for some odd reason they were rewarded with the gifts, with the trips, with the...
I'm a side chick. Of course his wife knows about me, but tries to convince herself that he's no longer dealing with me so she can make herself feel better about being the...
They were getting a whole bunch of rewards for these husbands. The rewards that the wives were supposed to be getting, but no, because she had a thick ass, she had some nice perky tits, a perky set of tits, and then she got all the reward that was meant for your grandmother. She have gotten all the reward that, your grandma was supposed to be the one that take them trips overseas. Your grandma was supposed to be the one that get all these type of shopping trips, and then the woman growing up and they're seeing that type of interaction, be like, you know what? I don't want to have to deal with that crap. I don't want to have to deal with doing all the catering for this man that was going to turn around and be ungrateful and will be unappreciative and will treat me like a door freaking mat.
I know the woman that posted this thought this was a cute display of love and that it was adorable that even after a divorce that her grandmother still prepares a meal every single day for her grandfather. But to me, I see it as someone who's being selfish and also being greedy. How is it that you have gone on to remarry and you have a woman, but you still feel entitled to this woman's labor? She may say that she enjoys it or whatever, but she can't possibly move on. Because I don't know what man would be okay with you preparing a meal every week for a man that you divorced years ago. Like, I almost feel like he's sabotaging her ability to find new love, even though he's found it. If he truly loved your grandmother, not intimately or like romantically, but if he truly loved her, he would let her go live her life the way that he has gone on to live his. And if I was his new wife, I don't care how well that woman cooks. If my food isn't good enough for you and you rather have her food, go be with her.
My whole point is this: so long as you keep rewarding bad behavior, you're always going to expect people to behave badly. Oh, you don't want 304s? Then stop dealing with 304s. Stop getting in their DMs. Stop messaging them. Don't even try to get in their pits. But no, that's not what the hell you try to do. You try to get the short-term rewards. And then, you try to convince women that you somehow have a long-term plan.
Easy. Being a father is easy when you're rich. So, you want 25 sons, right? And you're gonna need multiple women to get that done. And most men with money know this, but they're like, oh yeah, I've had my kids and my wife will... Your wife will what? Your wife is deciding your genetic legacy. Your wife crying and her feelings and her complaining is more important than your genetic legacy into the endless fabric of time. You need to sit down and say, listen, I love you with all my heart. You're just too slow.
Shout out to Elon Musk, world's richest man. He's got like 10
I love you.
different women.
I wish they were all from you, but you're fucking around, tippy-toeing, hokey pokey. I gotta get stuff done. So don't be sad. Yes, you're at worst enemies pregnant again. Yeah, but we have numbers to reach. We got targets. Sales, we got targets.
Targets, bro.
We got targets to reach. Are you gonna let a woman and her crying No, don't do that. No, stay with me. Bro.
Andrew, let's fucking go, baby. You're a real bad man. Real bad man.
Bro, you gotta get it done. You gotta get it done. Now, there's a woman out there who comes to me and says, I can make babies in 2 weeks. I don't play games. I'm like, cool. Boom. Done. But until then, I need a lot of ovens to bake the bread.
I don't remember exactly where I got this quote, but a wise man once said, a weak person chases pleasure, but a strong person chases purpose. So you have to ask yourself, guys, what is your purpose? What is your purpose that would actually even make a woman submit to you? That would even make a woman look at you and be like, okay, this mother going places, I better act right. So then therefore I can be a passenger in that vehicle, in that journey that he's taking. But no, you guys don't want to do that. You gotta want to make that money just so you could trick it off on hoes and every different area code, and then thinking that, why can I find a good woman that will submit to me? Why can I find a decent woman that will cook and clean? Why can I find a woman that will be able to take me seriously? Because you don't take yourself seriously. You're supposed to be the rock that anchor women look up to. And then they will be the one fighting for you to be like, oh, you know what? This mother right here, yes, I will put my guard down for him because your word is your bond. Your granddad, a lot of them, not all, a lot of them had integrity. They had character. They had courage. They had a whole bunch of stuff you guys don't have right now. So that's why your grandmother was cooking and cleaning. That's why your grandmother, even though she was not wearing lingerie, she was wearing the regular muumuu, but she was still giving him like 9 kids. Yes, your grandmother was dropping it down on your granddaddy. Why? Because he had that strong jaw, he had that testosterone, and he had the balls to stand on his square, to be able to have that integrity. Be like, what do you guys have now? What, red pill masculinity? Podcast masculinity? I can change the light bulb masculinity? What do you have that would actually make a woman act like your grandmother? But let's say you. I'm your host, The Haitian. So share, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out of here, guys. Peace.
He's cheating because the other woman has created a safe emotional space where she, one, respects him. She honors him. He's cheating like a big dog, but she still honors him. She still admires him. She still appreciates him. She still honors him. He's safe in that environment. He can let his hair down without feeling like he's made to feel like a little kid. I'm not saying it's right. It's never right. I'm saying why it happens. Because the side chick makes him feel a certain way. The side chick knows how to talk to him. The side chick embraces his flaws, embraces his issues, his brokenness, and don't make him feel bad about it. That's why he'll leave work and go to her house and not come home. Because if he come home, he already know what he's gonna get. Or he'll go to the bar, or he'll just sit in his car in the park. I talk a lot about this because I'm an African-American male therapist, and it's hard to get black men in my office. So I talk a lot about this because I want to get more men in my office to create that safe space to be